Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out, our Thursday edition. I'm Rodney West, along with Jack Lord, and of course, all of you. We thank you very much for joining us again on this very great Thursday night. I've had a great day. We've had beautiful weather here in Tennessee. Jack, how you doing tonight?
Great weather down here too. Beautiful out here on the porch, and I'm fixing to hit it as soon as we get done.
More on the porch. First of all, we want to send out our thoughts and prayers to the people along the Gulf Coast. I think Bubba in Pensacola was telling us the other night, Tuesday night, that they was having there was get rough on them, and that's what we saw. It was some major flooding in Pensacola. So our thoughts and prayers go out to all in Pensacola and all along the Gulf Coast. Today, ladies and gentlemen, as we've been continuing our study of the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, we started Monday night by going through the chronological order of the World Championship. Then Tuesday night, we talked about the importance of the NWA title to the territories and its uses as not only a draw, but one of the great tools to create all of these great rivalries that are that happen inside. We went through many examples of that. And, of course, all of this leads up to our big show starting next Thursday night. That is next Thursday night right here. That's September the 24th. We begin our new show of NWA, and we hope everybody, absolutely everybody, will be able to join us for that. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to, we're gonna review Raw here in a minute. But before I did that, I want to try to close some things up on the NWA Championship. And as we've been going back over it, brought tremendous amount of memories for me, especially those great matches that I attended live. You know, it wasn't on TV. It was right there. And I think about when you watch the world champion, whether in my case it was Ric Flair and Harley Race, every match was a masterpiece. It was a work of art. Every match that I've seen with the world champion, the end, everybody was standing. That is experience. That is experience. That is know-how. And I have yet to see, especially when it comes to Harley Race and Ric Flair, the ones that were groomed to be champion, not to leave the crowd standing. What about you, Jack?
Oh yeah. The excitement in the crowd is just, what's that word? Palatable, I guess. Yeah. You could feel it. You could really feel
the importance of the match and the class. Ric Flair was a completely different champion than Harley Race. Race still had that professional, had those beautiful robe, another robe made by Olivia. I remember the gold one. He had a gold and black one and a red, white, and blue one. Had Race across the back, and then he had that big, beautiful belt. Daniel, we're going to be doing that next. We're going to be doing it next Thursday night, 7:30. We're going to start in 1984. 1984. This is when Jim Crockett Promotions takes over for Vince McMahon. So that's where we're going to kick it off at right there. One of the big matches that I remember, of course, Bob Armstrong and Ric Flair left them standing no matter where they went. It was an event every time you saw it. And I don't care how many times Rick and Bob wrestled, it was an event. It was just absolutely beautiful. What match do you remember, Jack, World Championship matches?
Well, I watched, if it was on pay-per-view or on television, I saw just about everything. To be honest, the only live world title, NWA world title defense I ever saw in person was Harley Race.
Yeah.
And that was after he had taken the title back from Tommy Rich and came back. He was in Columbus and had another return match with him. And that's the only actual match, but that was a magical night too. I mean, Tommy was on fire. People thought, hey, he's done it before. He can do it again. He didn't, by the way, but they thought he could.
Sure.
But you could feel that. You could feel that. Back in the day when you did not need music, you just needed guys who knew what they were doing, men and women.
Right, and it was electric. You could when that bell rang. After the intermission, the bell rang. Everybody knew This was it. It was coming up. One of my most memorable ones is right after Tommy Rich was injured on TV with Harley Race and Austin Idol. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
Mr. Wrestling 2 actually took Harley Race's Tommy Rich's place at the Omni. We were there. And in that match, Wrestling 2 pinned Harley Race and walked out with the World Heavyweight Championship belt. I don't know if you remember this, but a technicality, and Harley liked technicality, so they embraced technicality, saying that Mr. Wrestling 2's name was not on that contract. He signed to wrestle Tommy Rich, and they returned the belt to Harley Race, and apparently cards and letters came from all over the country. And this is when Bill Watts came to Atlanta and presented Wrestling 2 with the Champion of Champions Cup, which infuriated Harley Race because he said it legitimately devalued the World Heavyweight title. And I agree with him. I absolutely agree with him. But it was leading up for a month later when it was 2 with the cup against Harley Race, and it was beautiful. Of course, in that one, they get to go to that one, but Harley Race ended up winning that one. And then the other one where I was at the Omni was the night that Harley Race got defeated by Dusty Rhodes, where Dusty come off the top rope in a flying press, and right in the middle, 1, 2, 3, Dusty walks out, and the people are jumping in the ring, and it's a great night. It's a great night. Let's go ahead and let's listen. Let's talk to some of the insiders at this time. Mike Schaefer, listening in Bama. Lots of people without power praying for. We hope the best for everyone. I know this rough time. I thought I saw some National Guard troops were going in to help, and so we send out our best to everyone in the area. Rick Brooks, I'm in attendance as always. Welcome, Rick. We thank you very much for coming on. James Williams Lawrence, good afternoon. Hello. All right. So, and then of course, Daniel, I answer your question. We're going to start, like I said, 1984 next Thursday night. We're going to be talking about the NWA, and this is, like I said, right after Jim Crockett Promotions takes over for Vince McMahon off of TBS. It's going to be great. I mean, because a lot of people will remember a lot of stuff happening from that time period. Richard Hood, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening. Rodney Malcolm, changing of the guard, so to speak, right? From Ric Flair, from Harley Race to Ric Flair, absolutely. Yeah. Timothy M. Tolliver, Sr., I was honored to see Harley Race versus Dory Funk in a rematch at the Kiel Auditorium in 1973. Rematch after Harley won the belt. 1 hour draw. Dory wrestled the third fall with 1 debut. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. I got to see the title change from Kansas City, I think it was, with Harley and Dory, and that place was shocked, absolutely shocked. You said it was at the Kiel Auditorium. I have a feeling that place was electric that night, no doubt. Let's see, Kevin Pinley. Hey, I'm on vacation. What is that to which he speaks? Vacation.
I don't know. It's a foreign animal to me.
Yeah. All right, then we said Russell Bell. I saw Jerry Lawler against Ric Flair for the NWA belt. I wasn't there live. I saw a YouTube video of Lawler against Flair. Tommy, oh my goodness, is his name? Tommy Marlin was the referee. I saw the comments that were complaining about Tommy Marlin, but he was perfect in that match. It was 1 hour, Mid-South Coliseum. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Rodney Malcolm. Wasn't there a rule that kept masked wrestlers from holding the title? Yes, there was. In fact, in our notes from the other night, I don't think we covered it. The Midnight Rider, which was Dusty Rhodes, defeated Ric Flair for the world title, but because the Midnight Rider would not reveal who he was stripped of the belt. And so, okay, Tawia Tap Brown in the house. We welcome you. Let's see. Victor Nash. What up, guys? The last NWA title match I saw was Ric Flair losing to Dusty Rhodes at the Miami Beach Convention Center. Absolutely. Beautiful match. Retro Rob. Hello, all. Hello, Mr.
Hey,
Retro.
Rob.
Welcome. Charles Alfred. Hello, gentlemen. Great study. Thank you very much. More great history. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. All right. Richie Dye. Good evening, old timer and the kid. Been enjoying the shows
Don't
lately.
call him old, Richie. He's not that old.
We thank you very much, as always. We always appreciate. Without you, it's just without you, we have nothing here. Can you do one show on referees? I think we can do that.
We've actually discussed that, and yeah, we definitely do. There's some great referees out there, even today. A lot of times the referees are better than the wrestlers.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And then Rodney Malcolm, remember that one too. And I forget where we were at discussing that. But like I said, it was always we got to. I also got to see Kerry Von Erich and Ric Flair in the Superdome. That was pretty decent. And then that was the snooze fest, Ric Flair against Terry Taylor. Not so good. I'll tell you one of the other ones we saw, Ric Flair against Dick Murdoch in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. And it wasn't a typical Ric Flair type match. I believe it was Murdoch doing the call on that one. Of course, Murdoch and Dusty helped train, I think, Flair. Chief Inspector Clouseau, Mr. Wrestling 2, deserved the title. And, you have to admit, after he won it, he beat him. I was right there. I watched him carry the belt out. I was sitting in the boxes right there at the Omni. He came up the aisle with the belt over his head into the dressing room. And the next thing we knew, we got in the car and we were talking. We were so excited about it. And then Dad said, "Oh, no, they give the belt back to Harley." And we were like, "What?" And he said, "Yeah." He said his name wasn't on the contract. And then said, "Oh, well, that's not nice." Hey, plenty of those types. They've done it before, saying that you're the name Georgia heavyweight champion or a state champion or a U.S. champion was the name of the contract, and then the title changed and they left the old ex-champion in there to go against him. They've done it plenty of times. Yep. Rodney Malcolm. Oh, he's talking about the Midnight Rider versus Flair is what he was talking about. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Mine's going 90-0. So, and yeah, that was one of those things. Look, if you, and you can see why. You're supposed to be the number one wrestler, and we talked about the other night. Think about it. You had unscrupulous promoters that could stick a mask on somebody and buy him a belt and say, "Hey, this guy's the world champion." You can understand to keep the legitimacy of the championship and keep it important why that would be. So, yeah, it was. I respect that rule. I respect that rule. No doubt about it. I really do. But yes, indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to remind you that will be next Thursday night. We're going to be talking about the NWA Begins right here. We're going to be talking about Jim Crockett Promotions as they took over for Vince McMahon on TBS, and we will pick up from there. We will also cover other things as we lead up to it, starting here next Thursday. We'll begin Monday night, and of course, we'll lead up to our big show to the on that Thursday night. Mickey Mayfield, Jack, did you ever wrestle with a concussion? Was watching videos of Abdullah versus the Sheik, and after they pounded on each other, I was amazed they could keep going.
Yeah, matter of fact, I did. I've had 7 concussions in my career.
Wow.
And never took any time off for it. We didn't know what the effects were. But I feel them now.
All right, so let's see here. James Casey. This isn't an NWA match, but I've seen Rick and Bret Hart wrestle. When two guys know what they are doing, the roof goes down. Yeah, I agree, and I know I misread.
I'm gonna give you a little tidbit on that too. Rick, I never did hear Ric Flair talk about wrestling Bret, but Bret talked about how he didn't enjoy working Rick. He didn't think they had good chemistry together. But when I've saw those matches, I thought they were really, really good. I think they could have been pay-per-view quality, but they only wrestled on house shows. They never had a pay-per-view match, which is a shame.
Right. Kevin Piddley, can you recall a match that the guys didn't jail like Hogan and Flair? You're talking about world championship matches? I would be hard pressed to, if you're talking about world championship matches, I'd be hard pressed to say, because normally they had the very best guy.
You can talk about, guys will say, hey, I didn't particularly like wrestling somebody, or, I don't think I had the best match. But from a fan's perspective, which is everybody in the world that's watching the match that's not in the ring, those matches look good. Even their worst matches, for guys who know what they're doing, their worst matches are still better than most.
Right. All right, so let's see here. Rick Brooks, as far as masked wrestlers go, it was obvious who Sweet Amity Brown Diamond was. Rodney Malcolm, think Dusty was suspended, and if he unmasked, he would have to leave Florida for a year. Yep,
I believe that's right.
All right, so Victor Nash, question, did Blackjack Mulligan ever win the NWA World title? I do not think so.
No.
I don't think he was in our list from Monday night. And, of course, he meant anybody who didn't have chemistry. I'm going to go with Austin Idol and Baron von Raschke. Oh, that was one of mine. That was oh, my goodness. That was just awful. It was just awful. And we had to sit through those. And, boy, Rome, Georgia will never be the same after that. It was terrible. They were terrible. Let's see, who else? You think about anybody else you would think of?
I'm sure I'll have plenty come to me later. I've seen a lot over the years, but I can't think specifically right now.
I have another one. Of course, I know I hate, Kevin Sullivan, Steve Kern, Carrollton, Georgia was awful. It's terrible. Yeah. Daniel Lang, Magnum TA wins the North American title from Hacksaw Ray, then loses the title to Nikolai Volkov. But then gave the belt back to Reed because Magnum was not on the contract. Yeah, they've done it. They've done it several times. I remember that, and that was a whole. It was a whole very complicated situation. That was like 83, wasn't it, Daniel? I believe 1983. That happened, and it was a convoluted, just unbelievable. Finally, it was something. Mickey Mayfield, the cage match between Brody and Luger, and Brody wouldn't sell. It was funny. Yeah,
I have seen that. Yeah, what's bad?
Kevin Pendle, Baron was he was awkward, and that's all you need to know. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, we've seen some stinkers. Brian St. John, I don't know who he was wrestling in Chattanooga. He filled the concession stand up on that one. They were the only people that liked it, the people running the concession. Building was just ecstatic. You got to have more matches with him. We sold a lot of drinks during that time. It was a disaster. Absolute disaster, Brian St. John in Chattanooga.
That's that. To this day, that is still my response when a guy's had a bad match and he asks me about it, and I'll say, "Well, you sold the concession stand out."
That's right. That's right. Well, like I said, I have really enjoyed talking about these great matches, these NWA World Championship matches, and I don't think we probably will ever see a title with that kind of importance. Not in a while. Not in a while. For whatever reason, no organization finds it to be worthwhile, and I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It was something that lasts from 1948 until what was it, 1991? That's a lot of years, and there was a reason why they kept doing it, because it worked. It worked. Speaking of working, it is now time, ladies and gentlemen, for our Raw review. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the USA Network. And you don't notice that they never say proudly presents. No. And I can understand why. It was on this past Monday. Began with Michael Cole, and this time Dolph Ziggler and Brian Saxton. And, of course, our good friend, what was his name? The other guy that's on there, he wasn't on. Who cares? His name. We're just glad he's still on vacation. Michael he does a better job, or at least more a convincing job. We begin the show in a different pace. Okay, it does. An interview with Drew McIntyre, the WWE champion, comes strolling down the aisle like somebody has to every single show. And they must make a statement every single show, only to be interrupted every single show. It's the same old, same old. And I quite honestly was not impressed by the WWE champion's performance in this interview, as he proceeded to talk about the reason that how he came up with his great kick, where he was wearing the tight pants and they split. And, Scotsmen do not wear underwear. And somebody in the back thought that was funny, especially to have your number one guy standing out there speaking about he goes.
That's good stuff.
And then he has to do his hit list like Randy Orton did. Somebody in the back thought, oh, this is good television. It's funny. It's great. And then, of course, during all of this, then comes out Mr. Pierce, and he says that if Randy Orton does not show up, and it will be amazing. He may not. Who knows? We don't know. Randy Orton Jr., after all of the things that he got kicked in the head 3 times and off to the hospital like everybody else. Then, of course, before that, Mr. McIntyre decides that we need to put the WWE Championship, the most covenant, most longest title in WWE, in a match. That's an ambulance match. The only thing that was an ambulance is they need to take the whole show, stick it in the ambulance, and take it off to the hospital. I was not in a good mood last night. I thought I'd rewatch this to see if it was just my mood that was the problem. It wasn't. It wasn't, ladies and gentlemen. No doubt. Okay, anyway, Keith Lee, in a surprise, who he's going to end up having to wrestle later on in the program, will come out there. Now if Keith Lee should win, he will get a WWE Championship opportunity. Again, the word is opportunity, and it's used repeatedly through the entire show. One of these days, we need a drink. I guess I need to do a drinking game. I'll probably drunk out of my mind for how many times the word opportunity.
Through the opening segment.
It's just amazing. Anyway, they end the program with Keith Lee and McIntyre shaking hands. And I think, for my personal opinion, they held hands way too long.
Oh, yes.
I just think that then we go back, we come back, and we have the champions match. It is the Street Profits against Cesaro and Nakamura. Jack?
Nakamura. I thought it was a good match, but I think it's about the same match they have all the time. So it was good. Wasn't spectacular.
In the end, it was Dawkins in the same type of thing they've done. They did it last Friday. They did it last Friday night in the main event with Ramon Reigns. He came in and made the tag, just a similar type thing, come off the top rope. Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, it's boring. It is boring. The same storyline repeatedly, segment after segment. Oh, he's my friend. He's my best friend. I'm turned on my friend. Why did you do that to your best friend? I've been friends with him 10 years. If it wasn't the Colonics or Iconics or whatever they were 10 years friends. Drew McIntyre and Lee, friends for years. Same thing. It just boring. Absolutely boring for me. And then we have a video of Mickie James. And then we come back with Angel with Lana. And then we're talking about Natalya, how she should be the championship. And then Andrade and Selena come in. And then they have what looked like High School Musical 3 or 4, 17, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And had their little spat. And then the guys get into it. Just fantastic acting. I'm sure directed by our friend Corey Graves. Then they have an interview with the Dominic family. With Dominic, I say Mysterio family. I call it Dominic family because he seems to be towering over everybody. That's amazing. All right, then we replay last week with Hard Business and the 8-man tag and the whole shebang with Cedric Alexander and Ricochet and Apollo Crews. And same thing we just heard in the last one. Oh, we were friends. What were wrong? The same thing. Like I said, boring and dull. Let's just do it again. And what I was looking forward to, Ricochet versus Cedric Alexander, before I say, what did you think of that one?
It was good. I mean, if you like high spots, it was high spot heaven.
To me, like I said, it was painful for me to watch. But for me, you just got turned on. You're going to come in there and you're going to put on what looked to be, which would be nice for the circus and the acrobat act, but it was not someone that just stabbed you in the back type of, type of thing.
It was a match. It wasn't. There wasn't a lot of anger portrayed in there like there should have been.
No, proper anger would be when Dusty Rhodes and Cowboy Bill Watts came in and Ole Anderson and Ivan Koloff and used beer bottles, tables, chairs, and whatever else they could have got their hands on at the Omni after the parking lot incident. It was fantastic. In the end, we had all kinds of action. We had the Viking Eric come out and jump on with Lashley, and they fought. And, of course, at the end of the match, we had of course, in the end, it was Alexander winning. He won, and then the Black Scorpions come on the screen. Retribution back up there. And honestly, I don't know about you, but I thought what Paul Heyman had to say last week in his previous interviews, almost identical. What they said. Did I miss? No,
I think it's coming from the same writing room, and they're just rehashing stuff.
Then we come up with Mickie James, and she's talking about it was just one cliche after another. Finally saying that this could be her last match, last chance at the title. Then we come up. Adam Pearce is back with his cracked security guards and Hurt Business, which is my favorite, by the way. Hurt Business, come back there and tell them, you need us to take care of your security problem. They said, well, I'm glad you're volunteering. Who said about volunteering? We're going to send you a bill. I love MVP. He's my favorite.
Yep.
He is my favorite. Absolutely my favorite. Then we come with Asuka against Mickie James. Mickie James in her Wonder Woman outfit. I don't know if anybody caught that. But she was in her Wonder Woman. The only thing she didn't spin, and she didn't have the magic lasso, which would probably be helpful in this one. But they needed some magic. Jack, tell us what happened here. I don't understand what happened.
The match itself, again, I didn't think the match was terribly bad, but there was absolutely no crowd reaction through this match. And then in the finish, my understanding is that Mickie suffered a separated shoulder, and that's why they called the match and stated that Mickie could no longer continue. Now, she didn't have that reaction. I didn't see her, holding her shoulder or anything.
She looked shocked from the referee. Yeah. She what happened? And they just kind of rolled her out and then moved on. I
don't think that was the planned finish at all, because even the announcers were kind of trying to cover up, how odd it looked.
Well, then right at the end, it was Selena out making a challenge. Obviously, you can just do whatever. You can challenge at any time.
Apparently.
There's no rankings.
There's no pecking order.
You challenge anytime you want to. And being that you've not been in the ring, I don't think very often, as I've seen on the program, get your championship match. You just have to slap the champion in the face.
Yeah.
There you go. Then we go back with Keith Lee about to interview with McIntyre. And of course, they were asking him if he would go for the broken jaw. And I say, if you know about it, why not?
Yep.
Why not? Anyway. Then we have match number 4, Bobby Lashley against Viking Raider Eric. Honestly, I like it. And a shock, I liked it. I love the full Nelson right to the end. In fact, the United States champion, Bobby Lashley, looks better than their number 1 champion as far as I'm concerned. I really think so.
It was a good match. It's very aggressive from the get-go. like it should be because his partner got hurt and put out last week, he ought to be upset. First time I've seen really good storytelling in what they're doing leading into those matches and then carrying it through the match in a while.
Then we have Kevin Owens talking about why Aleister Black is he any relation to Sirius Black?
I don't think he's that serious.
Okay, well, Sirius Black, was in Azkaban. Where he flew off in a hypership or whatever. Just wondering. It looks like he could have been in Azkaban. I don't know. So we talked about that, and again, another person who's backstabbed another. Moving on to the next one. It's Raw Underground. Braun Strowman comes in, starts kicking everybody's tail. I enjoyed part of that. Yeah. We recap Seth Rollins, Murphy, and the Dominics. We redo all of that, and then we re-showed part of the no street fight, kind of the anti-street fight, whatever they had last week, because they don't really know what a street fight is, apparently, like they don't know what a lumberjack match is, apparently. Then we have a rematch. The interview with Seth and Murphy, and the end, Seth slaps around Murphy. I still believe Seth is actually a vampire. I think he is. R-Truth comes back, and he's talking about Kit Kats. There you go.
I love that. Was the highlight of the show for me.
Mandy Rose. And then they say Mandy Rose is headed to Raw. Alrighty. The interview with the Mysterio family. Then we have the cage match. Seth Rollins against Dominic Mysterio. Jack, what do you think about that one?
I thought the match in itself was pretty good. The kid's still green, but he's been trained well. Seth was as aggressive as he needed to be. I love the little story they were telling with Murphy being told not to come to ringside, came to ringside anyway. And, he screwed up the spot where he hit Seth in the head with the cage door and, advance that storyline just a little bit more. I was pleased with it. And I like the way that, he beat him and stopped. That was it. He beat him, and he didn't have to do anything else.
I noticed that they had to beat Rey Mysterio on that one. I think he used a word he shouldn't have used in that one. They had to beat them. Went to the other ground. It's Ziggler and Riddick in the ring. I thought Riddick looked a lot like Carl Styles. I really did. I thought it looked like Carl Styles. Then Strowman's in and he destroys both of them. Then we come back with an interview with McIntyre about Lee. Again, more about friends. Used to be friends and blah, blah, blah. Friends. Finally, Lee comes in. They get into a fight. Then it's the Raw Underground back with it. Strowman, Titus O'Neil comes in, and Strowman takes him out. Then we have match 6, Kevin Owens and Aleister Black. Not related, we think, to Sirius Black. I think we have got. He attacks in the building. Lights flash. Owen comes up with the stunner, and then it's Owen over Black. I guess that's the end of that, I would assume.
Yeah, I kind of like that just because Kevin Owens showed that you can actually sell because nobody does that. And he sold. He pulled out the win and still sold. I love that. I love Kevin Owens. I really do.
Let's see. So now Lee and McIntyre about their fighting again. Pierce threatens to cancel the match. And many people were hoping he would. But anyway, match number 7, Riot Squad against Natalya and Lana. Again, Lana and Natalya, best friends. Do you think that there might be a situation in which there might be a backstab there somewhere?
Eventually, yeah.
Nobody's going to see that coming.
Yeah, no.
Graves are going to see.
Every one of us are going to see it. There's people in the graveyard that sees that coming.
That's right. At the desk was Jackson Beasler. I love Nia Jax. I think she's awesome. She's not over the top. She's just perfect. And I love her threatening. What is the other guy? One of the announcers there. Quit looking at her. Don't you look at me. And then at the end, of course, the Riot Squad win. No surprise there because they're going to be at the pay-per-view. I just don't get that. Sometimes it just telegraphs everything. In the end, it's Jax putting one of them
Lana.
with a Samoan drop through the collapsible table. It was fantastic. Then we have back to Raw Underground Strowman, Riddick and Moss. He gets into it again. Ziggler comes in, and in the end, Kaiju is his name. Kaiju comes in. And then to Strowman, and then Shane says, "Hold it! We're going to stop it right here." Right when it gets in, get it out. Match number 8 coming out first. Is the WWE Heavyweight Champion comes down the aisle first. Drew McIntyre against Keith Lee. What'd you think about this one?
Well, I thought the match was good. They had some aggression coming from their little build up beforehand. I like both guys, as far as in the ring. I do like what they do. I especially love Keith Lee. I think if they use him correctly, he could be a major star for them. Now, my understanding is past what they're doing right now, they have no plans. So, and that's going to be a shame, but you've come to expect that.
I was actually the first time I saw McIntyre wrestle. That's all I'm going to say about that. Honestly, all we saw was basically the same match with different people the whole show. Same match, same thing, same, no different styles.
Well, that comes from all of them being taught to work the exact same way. So there's no variety.
Yeah. So it's just, and that goes, and you're right, it goes to the fact that they haven't developed themselves over the years. So you have one size fits all. And for me, it doesn't work for me. And like I said, it was very painful for me to watch the show, especially after we've been going over all the NWA champions and all that. It was quite. In the end, our friends the Black Scorpions puts us out of our misery by putting this match out of it, and they come in and just beat everybody up. Finally, it's Hurt Business coming in, and I don't think they fared too well against them. In the end, it's both McIntyre and Lee jumping over the top rope and doing the splash, knocking everybody out. You would think they would capture a few of these guys and took their mask off, but I guess not. We'll just keep going with it.
Well, we were out of television time. I'm sure they did that.
And it's possible that we'll have to wait to the Survivor Series before we see this come to fruition. It goes off the air with the Black Scorpions being splashed, and that was Raw.
Believe me, our synopsis was much more entertaining than the actual show was this week.
Wow.
Now, out of the 5 scale,
yes,
I'll do a 3. It wasn't totally bad, but a lot of room for improvement.
Like I said, it was painful for me this week. I don't know why. It was very, but the only thing that I enjoyed basically was MVP. I thought it was awesome. Other than that,
he and that whole group are just head and shoulders above everything else that they're doing right now. And they're not even really pushing them as a main event thing, and they should be.
Yeah. And I've said that they should be the champions. They should be the tag team champions because I think they would bring some credibility and probably some seriousness to it as well.
Well, and to add something special to that little group too would be if they use that Freebird rule of letting the other 3 members select, something different. We haven't seen that in a long time.
And right now, as far as I'm concerned, really Cedric Alexander doesn't fit. He doesn't fit in that group, or maybe
not yet. But I think he will. I think he will.
All right, let's go to some comments. Stuart Kemp, see, Jack had to light up as you spoke, so it seems this is going to be rough.
It sucked the air out of the room. The cigar went with it.
With it, as I said before, it looks like kids put this together, and I think they did. No doubt. Rodney Malcolm, Monday Night Raw is a joke. Raw is a joke.
It is a joke, and I think they intend it to be sometimes, and that's the problem.
Yeah. I don't know why you guys put yourself through Monday night.
Well, look,
beyond
the podcast, I'm still actively involved with professional wrestling, so I have to keep up with things that are going on. And to be honest, I have to watch Raw twice because I cannot make myself concentrate on it on the first showing. So I have to go back and then try to watch the stuff I missed.
Honestly, it is too long.
It's too long, and it does not capture my imagination or my attention, I should say.
It is a 3-hour show, and basically they should just go for 30 minutes. All right, so here we go. Charles Alfred, I'll watch the rest of the replay. Thank you, Charles. We hope you enjoy. Let's see. Richard died. Do you know if the Funk brothers ever worked each other while one or the other was world champion?
I don't believe so. I did see a match that they had in Japan against each other, but there was no title on the
line. Joseph Albert, Rodney, Malcolm, definitely true. Okay, you've got a fan there. Don't even watch it anymore. Boy, I get why you're Joseph Alfred. I don't even watch it anymore. Okay, Mickey, I miss Territory Days. Yeah, so
I do too.
So do I. Nobody can tell stories anymore. Well, they can. It's just the same one over again. Somebody is turned on this guy. These backstep. This is the only thing they've done over and over and over again. This guy's turned on this guy, and this guy's turned on this, and the women are fighting amongst each other, and one girl's she's turned on this one, and she's gonna become Harley Quinn, and it's just anyway, Victor match. NXT. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, back in the day, we played to our strengths. Promoters, bookers knew to allow the wrestlers to have a little bit of say-so in what they were doing because the wrestlers knew what they could pull off and what they couldn't. And, if they had to tweak a storyline or angle or whatever to a little bit, they were willing to do that. But they trusted those guys to go in there and do what they needed to do. Now, all these folks are trained the same way. They're given absolutely no freedom, very little input on what they're doing. So we're getting the best that they can do with what they've got. And they're not trained for that. They're not trained to be actors, and they're not trained to be professional wrestlers anymore. They're trained to do spots. And that isn't their fault because they're talented. So many great talented people, if you would just quit putting the reins on them and just turn them loose and let them do what they do, how to do.
Yeah, you can put parameters.
Sure.
They stay within those parameters. Yep. But certainly, if you got a big match with Drew McIntyre and Keith Lee, you want to kind of keep things building that way. And, you don't want to have everything in the first 2.5 hours. You want to wait to leave it for the main event, or they have nothing for them to show. It's kind of like, I'll give you an example. It's kind of like the first time somebody gets hit with a chair, the people explode. But each additional time, the same night it happens again and again, it has less and less of an effect. Same kind of thing I'm talking in this time.
Exactly.
Well, Charles is still here. Well,
hey,
we're glad, Charles. Dr. Philbo Grice, good evening, guys. Thank you very much, Mr. Grice. Richard Brooks, still can't bring myself to watch the current wrestling.
Fast forward is your friend.
Fast forward is your friend. And Rick, I have found that just watching the matches by themselves without their little enhancement interviews and backstage terrible acting, it makes it better. Chief Inspector Clouseau, I get tired of Retribution showing up just when the match starts getting good. It almost leads you to believe that they don't want that match to finish.
Yep.
Yeah. And if that goes, if I can tell you right now, if the reveal of that is awful, which was the Black Scorpion's problem, the reveal was awful. It should never have been Mr. Flair. If this turns out to be disgruntled employees, wrestlers that he's gave the notice to, it is going to be a complete and utter disappointment.
I will watch it first and let you know because that's what's happening.
Okay. Lana getting put through tables and going to continue to get beat up because Miro remarks on his AEW.
Victor, yeah. As much as I hate to admit, that they're that petty. That's exactly, I believe, what's happening.
Victor put a 5 scale on Raw. 5 scale. Put a 5 scale Raw was a 2. Okay, all right. Raw is terrible. Really awful wrestling. Okay. Dr. Philbo Bros, I think Underground is the only thing going well for Raw. What are your thoughts, gentlemen?
I do like that. I do like the premise of it. I like the way they've pulled it off so far. But remember, it's WWE, and if it can be screwed up, they have the potential.
They certainly can. Here we go. Rodney Malcolm. Not to change the subject, what do you think of AEW?
Okay. Well, I have AEW's been on almost 2 years now, I think, and I have watched the show most of the time. I joke, but I do watch it and fast forward because it's just too many high spots, too many leg slaps for me for the most part. Yesterday, last night, I couldn't sleep, so I went ahead and watched the replay, and I was actually surprised that I kind of liked the show. I mean, from start to finish, it seemed like they paced it down just a little bit, and I could see some storylines being told. The only critique I would have of the entire show was Tony Khan. If you're a multimillionaire and you're going to be backstage, wear a suit. Don't wear shorts and a t-shirt. But other than that, I thought it was pretty good. And the parking lot brawl they had, I thought that was one of the best brawls out in the parking lot I have ever seen, and I've seen a few.
Douglas Taylor, today's pro wrestling insults my childhood memories of professional wrestling. I agree with you 110% there. If there is a such thing as 110%, I agree with you. He's hit the nail right on the head. Dr. Philbo Bryce, thank you for your insights, professors. Thank you very much. Douglas Taylor, the last real wrestling, what I observed was Mario Savoldi, International Championship Wrestling, that would travel through the state of Maine.
He traveled a few other places because I worked for him one time.
Stuart Kemp, I am so happy that independents are starting to make a comeback. I doubt the big leagues will be able to figure it out. Remember Vince saying, I'm not in the wrestling business. I'm in the entertainment business. Vince needs to learn what entertainment really is. So far, it's not entertaining. All righty. I don't think there's any more needs to be said. I think you said it all right there. Victor Nash out of 5 skill. Raw was a 2. That was a typo.
Oh, yeah. We got you, Victor.
And all right, not just year, Jack. Okay. Oh, not just a year. I think he was talking about AEW. I hate AEW so much. And Chief Inspector, has Lana ever won a match?
Yes. Yeah, I know she had to have. But that would require me checking, and I'm not going to do that.
Kevin Mellons, Lana should join the special club. A special club. Okay. Well, all right. And Rodney Malcolm, awesome match between best friends and inner circle.
And Rodney, the reason I said 2 years for AEW is they're on season 2 now. That's what I was going by.
Okay, very good, very good. Well, I do believe we're going to say it's going to call it an end right there. And of course, as always, we appreciate each and every one of you that join in our conversation. We always have a great time, and we can besmirch people if we want to. That's okay. We will. We certainly will. Remember, next week, starting next Thursday, we will be doing the new show right here, NWA. We will focus on it. Also, on Monday, we're going to be doing Mid-South Wrestling Show and episode 268. Watch it, ladies and gentlemen. It is a barn burner, and we'll do that Monday night at 7:30, part of the wrestling conversation. We're going to do Mid-South Wrestling. This is from 1984. And it's episode 268. And so it's going to be interesting. And we're going to have a big build-up all throughout next week, all we get ready for the big NWA show next Thursday night, September the 24th. And let's see. We got a few more. Here we go. Lee Shelton, what's up, brothers? How you doing? We're doing just fine. We're going to talk. He's talking about Vince's club. All right. We're talking about him. Okay. We're not going to do that. Roddy Malcolm, got you. Jack, good night, guys. Good night. And Miro Day. And all right. There we have it. And ladies and gentlemen, and I think we've had it as well. And of course, for Jack Lord, I am Rodney West, and as always, we thank you. Thank you very much for being a part of Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. Without you, we don't really have much, and we know exactly You're the most important part of this program. And until next Monday night, 7:30, Rodney West for Jack Lord. We'll see you on the next Pro Wrestling Inside and Out.